Hi, so I am going to answer my final exam questions. So the first question asks, what was my strongest speech this semester? And in my personal opinion, my strongest speech was the first informative speech about autism. And the reason why I choose that speech is because I have a lot of personal knowledge about autism and I have a lot of experience with dealing with children that have autism. So I feel like I was able to inform my audience a lot about it and also have some personal experience to share with them to understand it a little bit more. Another reason why I chose that video as one of my strongest is because the quality of the video overall, I think, was probably the best out of all of the videos that I shared. And I enjoyed everybody's videos, but my favorite and the one I think is the strongest out of all of the videos shared was Sydney Blackenships. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name, but I think your video over the different dog breeds, I believe it was your first informative speech video, I thought it was really great. And the reason why is because you have so much confidence. You seemed like a natural on the stage giving your speech, and it kept me entertained, and I didn't find your speech boring at all. Your high confidence level and you feeling comfortable up there, it showed through your speech, and so I enjoyed it. And I also really thought it was unique that you had an actual dog as your visual for your audience. So I thought you kind of put some uniqueness in there, and I enjoyed it, and I thought you did really good. And I organized my story speech in a way that it actually happened because I thought that'd be the most logical, and I really wanted my audience to understand the importance of what I learned in my story speech. And so by me putting how it happened to me is how they would realize like how important it was, how important overcoming my fear was. So that is why I organized my story speech the way I did. And the way that I was able to inform my audience with all my informative speeches was I gathered information that I thought would interest them. I didn't want to have just a bunch of facts that were kind of like boring because I didn't want to put them to sleep. So I kind of threw in some unique facts and fun facts about my topics that I went over just to like get their attention, because I didn't want to just have the basic information that they probably already knew. I just wanted to do something a little fun to grasp their attention. And some ways that I use Monroe's motivated sequence pattern to help me organize my persuasive speech was basically I first let my audience know what my subject was, which was organ donating. And then I informed them about the subject and why they should consider organ donating, and then I told them where they could sign up to be an organ donor. And I closed my speech with letting them know why it was important to me, because I have a personal experience with organ donating. My uncle does, and it was really dear to my heart, so that's why I chose that. And that is kind of how Monroe's motivated sequence pattern helped me to put that subject in and outline my speech. And the main technique I wanted to make sure I used from our textbook was that all my information in my speeches kind of flow together. So I guess that goes back to just organizing it well. And I just didn't want my speeches to just be all over the place. So I really tried to focus on making all the information flow that I was sharing with my audience, and that'd probably be the most important to me that I got out of my textbook. I think I do struggle with giving eye contact during my speeches, but overall, I think the thing that I kind of grew better at while giving my speeches was my confidence level, or feeling more comfortable giving speeches. From going back and looking at all my speeches, what I think I grew better at was the confidence level, because if you go and look at my first one, I struggled and I was very nervous, you could tell. And then at the last one that I just gave, my persuasive speech, I felt a little bit more comfortable. I wasn't nervous about reading my speech to everyone. So I think my confidence level and just feeling comfortable has improved. But I can just tell by the way that I presented my last speech that I felt a little bit more comfortable than I did with the first one. And definitely, like I said before, what I want to try to do better at whenever I give speeches is, number one, giving eye contact, because I need to work on that, and not relying so much on my note cards. Every speech I gave beforehand, I would go over my speech cards in the mirror and practice them and retain the information that I got. I wanted to retain it and memorize it. And I had it memorized, but once I would go and give my speech, the information I lost the information, and I was nervous, and I relied so much on my note cards. So I just want to not rely so much on my note cards, give eye contact, and just try better on that, because I really lacked doing that with my speeches. And one thing that I want to take with me when pursuing the career that I go into with about public speaking, I want to be a teacher. So teachers, they talk in front of people every day, teaching children. So I need to work on some stuff, and I want to take with me the eye contact and just feeling comfortable and confident in giving speeches and speaking in public. And I honestly think it's just going to take practice for me. Practice makes perfect, as corny as that sounds. I think that's what's going to take for me, is retaining all this information that I learned and using it in my career for the future, and just practicing it and practicing all these tips that I've learned. So that's it for me. Thank you so much for a great semester. I appreciate it.